All right, to begin, I would like to invite you to do an exercise with me, just real quickly. Will you begin by thinking of something that you are incredibly grateful for? Something, oh wait, not that you're grateful for. First, I want you to think of something that you're not grateful for. Something that, when you think about it, it just makes you put a stinky face on. Something that when you think about it, it kind of makes you feel down. Just for a second, we're not going to dwell on this, but just for a second. You got something? I'm seeing a couple stinky faces out there. A couple that might look somewhat like that. Now, you notice when you think of something that's negative or something that you're not grateful for, something that's hard or that's difficult in life, that it does have an effect on you, not only on the inside, but that can have a large effect on you on the outside as well. Now, let's twist it. Now I would like you to think of something that you're incredibly grateful for. Something that when you think about it, you can't help but smile. Something that's so incredibly important to you. Now, just in case you can't think of anything, I have an example of what I think of. Now I could watch that all day, but that's what this makes me feel like right there. When I listen to my little daughter say how much she loves me and sing how much she loves me, it makes just my heart swell and I feel so grateful. Now that simple exercise, I believe, symbolizes the simple power of gratitude. Gratitude can truly change our life from the inside out. Now, I struggled with what to title my presentation, and I don't know that I really have set on something exactly, but here's one way that I could have titled my presentation. It could have been, a grateful life equals a fully great life. That could be one way that we could think about it. That when we fill ourselves with gratitude, then in turn it fills our life with greatness. Or I could have titled it maybe Gratitude Equals Greatness. Now what is gratitude? Dr. Emmons, I should say, Dr. Robert Emmons, who's done a lot of research on gratitude and how it affects people, he broke gratitude down into two separate parts. He said the first part of gratitude is a recognition or an affirmation of goodness. It's seeing good in the world and recognizing that we get to be a part of that good at moments and at times. And then he said the other part, the second part to gratitude, is an affirmation or a recognition of another source. Sometimes we like to call that God, or sometimes it's individuals in our life that bless us. Sometimes it's our spouse, or sometimes it's our parents that we feel gratitude towards. So those two parts really make gratitude. Now, what is a great life? What does it mean to have a great life? Now, I think we could probably spend a lot of time talking about what it means to have a great life. Some people might say it's money or power or whatever, things. But I believe that, and for the purposes of this discussion, that a great life is happiness. And Steve Maraboli said that if you want to find happiness, find gratitude. If you want to find happiness, be thankful. That, I believe that gratitude is the prelude to happiness. So, I could have titled my presentation, Gratitude Equals Happiness. And you might try to find yourself in this cartoon here. Are you in there? As we think about the world today, the world that we live in, a lot of it is somewhat negative. And a lot of it, when people want to change their life or want to feel greater or better in their life, they think the best way to do that is to complain. But really, the real way to change our life is through gratitude. Dr. Joe Vitale said, gratitude is the #1 way to change our life from the inside out. Now, if you think back to our exercise that we began with, to change our life from the inside out, we started with what we think about, what we dwell on, and that affects how we feel, and also affects the things that we encounter attract to us on the outside. So back to this, I hope that all of us can be ready and willing to jump in to the gratitude line. One thing that my wife said when I showed her this picture, she said, look at the gratitude guy line. He's reading a book, he's sitting back, he's not even expecting anybody to come. It's really just not a part of our culture today to be grateful. Now I've said a lot of happy things, maybe a couple things you could place on a meme and post on the internet, but in reality, sometimes life can be a little bit tough. And to illustrate that, I'd like to talk about the word grateful. I have the hardest time spelling the word grateful. I always want to spell it G-R-E-A-T, and that's wrong. I don't know why, but it is. When the real way to spell it is G-R-A-T-E-F-U-L, right? And so, to illustrate that point, I brought a grate. Okay? And this might be kind of weird, but just for a second, I want you to imagine yourself as a block of cheese. Okay? Can you do that? Imagine yourself as a block of cheese. If you're lactose intolerant, I guess you can be a carrot or something. That works too. But just imagine that you're a block of cheese for a second, or a carrot. And imagine that you're hanging out, you're a block of cheese and you're hanging out, and someone comes up and grabs you and scrapes you across this really hard, sharp metal thing. Now, if I were a block of cheese, I would think, wow, this really stinks. Well, sometimes in life, we are like a block of cheese, in that life can be grating at times. It can be hard, it can be difficult. We can go through trials that hurt and that might be painful. But now think of the cheese. What does the cheese become when it's been grated? It's different, yeah, it's changed. It's not the block of cheese, it's not the perfect block of cheese that it was before. It's a little bit of a mess, but also it's more useful. It's more helpful. You can put it on pizza or spread it around nachos or put it in a salad. It's more delicious. When hard things come in our life, we have a choice to be stinky faces, have stinky faces, or be negative, or focus on the bad things that are happening. Or we could see that the grading of life is truly blessing us to be more useful, and that we can choose to be grateful for that grade. And I hope that we will. I hope that we will choose to be grateful. Now, sometimes we may have a hard time thinking of what to be grateful for. So I came up with a grateful for plan. And here's my plan. I'll give it to you real quickly. If you have a hard time thinking of some things that you can be grateful for, you can think of these 4 things. 1, people. You can choose to be grateful for the people in your life. One of the people that I first think of is my honey bun. I always say it's always important to be grateful for your honey buns. And so that's number 1 person. Another person that you could be grateful for is your parents, or your children, or your family, or your friends that help you out. And another person I like to throw in the people section is God, or our Creator. Number 2, we have our life. We can be grateful for the past, we can be grateful for the present and the experiences that we have, and then we can be grateful for the future and the opportunities, and we can have hope in that future. And that can change our lives as well. And then we can be grateful for our added attributes and our abilities. Sometimes I think we focus so much on our disabilities or the attributes that we don't possess that we miss out on an opportunity to be truly grateful. And then finally, the last one, nature. If you're having a hard time being grateful for things, go climb a mountain and just enjoy the scenery and the view of this great and wonderful world. And you might have noticed, but if you take out everything but the first letter of all those, it's plan. Grateful for plan. We can remember P for people, L for life, A for attributes and abilities, and welcome guys, and N for nature. What beautiful things we have. And there's other things that we can be grateful for that maybe I didn't mention. Friends. We can be grateful for our jobs or our employment or our schooling and that opportunity. We can be grateful for money, and what a blessing that is. I once heard the true purpose of money is to show gratitude. And then finally, we can be grateful for the things that we have. And if we're not, they could disappear. You may have heard the saying or the question, I guess. What if you woke up tomorrow and the only things you had in your life are what you're grateful for today? What would be missing? Choose to be grateful today. Thankfully, that's not exactly how gratitude works, but it could be eventually. If we're not grateful, those things can disappear. Now, it's important to count our blessings and to think of the things that we're grateful for. But one of my favorite authors and presenter or speakers was Neil A. Maxwell. And he once said, certainly we should count our blessings, but we should also make our blessings count. I want to leave you with maybe an idea on how we can do that today. Thanksgiving is one of the times that we most often count our blessings. But I think how we make our blessings count is found right within that word or that time that we celebrate once a year in our culture. And it is giving. If you truly want to make your blessings count, give. Look for opportunities to share and to lift and to guide and to help. Give of yourself and your time, your abilities, and your blessings. And that is how we can, one way we can truly make our blessings count. So I want to end with that challenge to go and count your blessings.